Hi, this is Silke from JagerFoods.com. This week's easy recipe for two is a spaghetti spinach bake Tetrazzini. It's called Tetrazzini. What we'll need is some shredded chicken broth, some spinach, mushrooms, onion, cream cheese, a little bit of flour, some mozzarella cheese, salt and pepper, and Italian seasoning for seasoning, some Parmesan cheese, and of course some spaghetti. It's about a quarter cup here. If you visit our blog www.jagerfoods.com, you will get our ingredient list, and it's also on our YouTube channel. Alright, well, let me slide this whole thing over and we will begin by preheating our oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Alright, then I have a pot of just water, about half full of water. We're going to let that warm up, heat up to a boil. This is for the spaghetti and the spinach. And then we also need a frying pan with about a tablespoon of butter. And here we will soften up the onions and make the sauce and everything. So we'll add our onions and the mushrooms. And we'll let that heat up. We just have to wait till everything gets warm. So we're going to cook the mushroom and onions until they get nice and soft, until the mushrooms release some of their moisture, water. Right? Once your cooking water is nice and hot, we're going to add our spaghetti. And we're going to just break them apart into roughly thirds. Oh, like that. Alright, and we're going to let that simmer for about 4 to 5 minutes. Alright, so while that's going, we will add about a tablespoon and a half of flour, depending on how much moisture you have in your... This is about a tablespoon, that should be enough. Flour to your mixture here, and stir it up. Let that brown just a little bit. Walk away from it, otherwise the whole thing is going to burn in just a few minutes. Alright, so once that looks all mixed up and looks good, we're going to add our chicken broth. And let the whole thing warm up again. Stir it up. I'm going to add some salt and pepper. And we're going to let that come to a simmer. Right, so once you let your mixture simmer, it'll thicken up a little bit, as you can see here. Oh, that's good. So at this point, we're going to turn it down, our heat, and we're going to stir in the cream cheese. Let that soften a little bit. I'm just going to let that sit for a little bit, soften up. Then we're also going to add some Italian seasoning, about a couple tablespoons. Okay, alright, so we better check our noodles. Once they soften up, you want to add your spinach about a minute before it's done. So just throw it in, let that soften or welt. That's what they call it. They're gonna welt the spinach for just a minute. And at this point I can shut my burner off already. Okay, that looks pretty good. And then softening up, so we let that sit. Alright. So I'm going to drain the spinach and the noodles, and then we're going to put everything else into our frying pan. Alright, so our cream cheese is softened up, and we're going to stir that in the rest of our sauce here. Like that. Now we might as well stir our chicken in. You want to put your spaghetti and mushroom into the sauce, into your pan, stir it up pretty good, and then add only two, or if you like Parmesan cheese, tablespoons of Parmesan cheese, and then it works best to use a fork, and then just stir it up a little bit more. The spinach likes to clump up, so if you use a fork, you have a little bit more control over spreading it out, so your spinach is not all stuck in one corner. Okay, that looks pretty good. Let's try to get that off. So we're gonna put it in our greased baking dish. Carefully. Be ashamed to have it end up on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so we get it all in here. Spread the whole thing out a little bit. I'm gonna cover it with aluminum foil and bake it for 25 minutes. Our Tetrazzini have been in the oven for about 25 minutes now. We're gonna bring it out. Hopefully without burning.
Without burning yourself?
Yeah, that'd be good, huh? And sprinkle our mozzarella cheese over the top.
Looks good. Smells good.
Yeah, it does. Alright, just like that. Spread it around nice and even. Now if you really like Parmesan cheese, you can put a bit more Parmesan cheese over the top. Otherwise, we'll just put it back in for about 8 to 10 minutes or until it's all nice and bubbly and brown on the top. I just want to mention, if this video gets to be a little funny, it's because we ran out of battery power about halfway through, so we apologize for that. Right, the spaghetti bake is just about done. It's starting to bubble, and yeah, it's getting just a little brown on top. I could leave it in a few more minutes, but we're hungry, so we're gonna go ahead and eat. Alright, so we're gonna dish it up. And I think the easiest would be just to make squares. Let's see if we can get this on the plate. Yeah, just like that. And then I think it would be good just to serve a little green salad with it. Would be good. Do that. Because I broke the recipe down for 2 people, but it's still kind of a lot of food. So it's looking good. I'm gonna add a little bit of a side salad to it, and Alright, just to recap again, this is a chicken Tetrazzini Florentine. That means it has spinach in it. It takes about 45 minutes to make start to finish, and then I just laid some romaine lettuce on the plate with and drizzled some balsamic vinaigrette over the leaves. Okay, have a try, see what it tastes like. Lasagna with a white sauce.
Oh, and spinach. Spinach.
Yeah, it's kind of like a lasagna, right? You're right. But yeah, it tastes good. You can taste the spinach. Yeah, so would we have this again?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Definitely, yeah. Tastes good. Alright, very good.